Mate, can you ask Slacky the name of Mr. Burns, the touch judge?
George Burns with the blue. George Long with the blue. John Burns with the red.
The place one reporting, Steve Pearl Renouf, time off for injuries. Once again, if there is a draw stand, or what we think is this way. Just a reminder about the preliminary finals next Saturday. And apart from the...
Speak slightly, Bones, our ears are up.
Reserve in first grade, the gates are going to open at 2:30 and you're going to be entertained for the Coca-Cola Cup final between Keebra Park and St. Patrick's Mackay at 3 o'clock. So it's a real feast of football next Saturday from the afternoon right into the evening. 3 o'clock, Keebra Park versus St. Patrick's Mackay for the final of the Coca-Cola Cup. 4:30 in Colts, East play Manly. At 6 p.m. in reserve grade, Ipswich play the Seagulls-Diehards. And in first grade at 7:30, Ipswich will play the loser of the match about to commence. It's next Saturday for preliminary final.
Referee David Manson gets the major semi-final underway between Souths and the Seagulls-Diehards, and the Diehards will take possession of the football inside their own 22. And at that point, the first tackle of the match is made, and it's Shane Buckley who goes to ground. Fine conditions and a hot afternoon here, Farmer. What's your pick?
Well, it's very hard, isn't it? The Valleys haven't been playing up to standard, and yet we know how well they can play because we watched them at the beginning of the season. South, they're showing us that they can play, they can finish on well. They've shown us that in the last few weeks. Gee whiz, I'm going for Diehards very closely, probably 2 or 3 points in it, because I think this afternoon Kelly Egan and Stephen Boys, Buckley and Shields and Hegarty might fire.
Andrew Slack.
Well, I've been going for Diehards all year. I can't see any reason to change today. I think there are 3 areas where they probably have the advantage over the Magpies. One, there's a touch more experience in the forward pack. Kellaway and Liso for South have been around a while. But
well, just before you go on, Andrew, Kellaway's been hurt here in this tackle. They call for the trainer straight away, which is not a good sign. I know he's got bad knees and he hasn't been training. He's telling me he's doing a lot of cycling. And I'm just wondering whether one of those knees is given away in the early piece. Gee, if they lose him, Andrew, it could be big trouble.
Well, yes, well, he's one of their only 2 experienced forwards, whereas Diehards have Cullen and Strasser and Holmes and Walker, all been around a while. The other area, as there's a fumble, but he keeps it in from touch. The Diehards in the centres, they've got a combination there of Egan and Boys, whereas South have had a last-minute change. Harrigan's out for missing training, and there'll be a lack of combination. And thirdly, Stephen Hegarty for Diehards, the best goal kicker in the competition. I think Diehards will win. They've won the toss and they're running with quite a reasonable breeze.
Now Daunt has kicked that out on the full, so there's the first mistake.
Well, really, yes, it was a mistake from Daunt to kick it on the full, but that seems to be their ploy this afternoon. That was the first tackle. Valleys that kick themselves and get out of trouble.
Well, it looks like they could be in trouble because South's come up with a feed and Harry's put the ball through. Someone better hurry. Boys is there first.
Offside. They were all in front of the kicker, the South, but particularly the man who dived on the ball, but they were all, the whole line of South's backs were up offside.
Well, Harry put the kick through, and obviously the outside backs were offside.
Renouf was well inside, well in front of the kicker.
So Jones picks it up. Darren Jones runs it well back inside Die-Hard territory. Little a dummy half over towards Hutchinson. So the Die-Hards, we spoke about discipline during the week, and there is not the example of the discipline Ross Henrik would like to see. The last time these two teams met, the Die-Hards' discipline was absolutely dreadful, as you'll see coming up here. They got offside with the referee that day, and they haven't started off on the right note today. So Brett Liso, about 28 metres out. And these teams have met 3 times this year. Die-Hards winning 30-20 the first game, 40-16 the second, and losing 22-10 the third. In early matches today, in the major semi-final in Colts, Redcliffe got up 27-23 in extra time. In reserve grade, 2 matches played today because of the draw last week. Ipswich got home 16-4 against East. Redcliffe got home 22-10 against the Die-Hards. So Ipswich will play the Die-Hards next Saturday. Here's Liso. Struck it pretty well, up and over. South draw first blood. They lead by 2 points to 0.
Finley goal to South.
Well, there's no doubt about it. If Die-Hards continue to make these mistakes early in the match, these points will gradually just creep up on them, and it's a hot afternoon.
Haggerty restarts. Skaysbrook takes it over his own try line. Nice tackle from Holmes.
Jeff Naylor there, sitting in the stand, watching. Oh, that's a knockback.
That'll be picked up and play on. Brett Vinson will take the tackle. Jeff Naylor thinks it's nail-biting stuff at this stage of the game. I'd like to see him about 75 metres down the track.
I think you meant minutes, did you?
Yes. Back to Liso. Play on. Boys. Tackled only 4 metres out from the line. Strasser goes to dummy half. Now it's for Walker. He's gone without it. Callaway's come up with it. So the Die-Hards making mistakes. And this is what South did to the Die-Hards the last time they met. They put them under pressure. And they made the mistakes at Davies Park, and they're making them again today.
Yes, although that was a bad clearing kick from South. They'll have to do better than that. Far too slow.
White.
Oh, that was high. Has not missed him.
Went high, but chest high, shoulder high was the ruling from David Manson. And there's plenty of heavy hitting going on out there as the Die-Hards have made South cough up possession.
Is. Watch White. Watch him. Oh, if that's not high, I'm not here, but not to worry.
Shane Kelly, a dummy half. Now goes inside to Walker. Now Daunt and Coyne, the 2 danger men. Coyne can't get the hands free. Renouf wearing 14. Puts him to ground. That's Stephen, boys. Daunt chipped through, and that'll be saved by Hutchinson. But the pressure from the Die-Hards forced South to drop out from underneath their own sticks.
There's Ross Henrik too, sitting up quietly. Hello, yes, bit of a deep breath. Of course, they don't have the advantage of getting the nerves out of the system. They've just got to watch.
Buckley takes it, then gives it to Stephen, boys. Hasn't had a lot of football in recent weeks because of injuries. He runs at 8 metres short of the 22. Strasser goes into dummy half. Now it's over to Richard, boys. And he's inside the quarter. South lead 2-0, the major semi-final from Lang Park. On Nine's Wide World of Sports. Daunt and Coyne combining for Kelly Egan. Renouf's hurt in the tackle. Coyne, kick through. Jones has lost it. No, he hasn't. He's knocked it on. But the Die-Hards using the grubber kick. Andrew Slacken putting Souths under pressure.
Yes, and while they made a few mistakes early, the Diehards, I don't think it was necessarily a lack of discipline. I think it might have been a bit of over-eagerness, and it seems to me now, as they give a penalty away in the scrum, that there has been a fair bit of attention paid to the fact that they must hold on to the ball, not throw silly passes. Some of their bad performances this year have stemmed from the likes of Daunt and Coyne trying to throw real speculators when they're not on. Today they're holding those passes, and to me they look quite good in attack.
So Liso, probably he and Hegarty, the two men on the field here today, probably with the best boots in the Brisbane competition. Calling, oh, that was a big hit.
That's good
Vincent
stuff.
took it.
That's good hard. That's as hard as you'll get. This is a real contest.
White driven back and lost it by Boys, and White and Boys are onto it. It's play on with Clarkson with the ball. Heavy hits the name of the game. Bruce Harry into space. They mightn't have the legs for touch. Here comes Hegarty. Shields is offside, and Hegarty goes to ground. Now Shields will take it from dummy half. Running across field. He's tackled by Bob Callaway. And his last season, Bob Callaway, at 32 years of age. That's Shane Kelly. Outside the quarter.
Quite amazes me that White's still going strong. Second rower for South. He was really hit hard early by Cullen. Hasn't even affected him.
Coyne stabbing in between Jones and Skaysbrook. Jones takes it. And Buckley will put him to ground. Plays it forward. 2 points to 0, 8 minutes gone first half, and it's Souths in the lead in the major semi. Skaysbrook can't make any ground. Little at dummy half, goes the blind side, runs into Holmes, and together with Buckley they put him down. Now it's with Skaysbrook, Clarkson, White, around the ankles from Strasser. Last tackle coming up.
Great defence from Diehards.
Harry, the master tactician in that pivot position. Hegarty a little bit unsure of the bounce. Oh, and he's hit by Chris White, and a bone cruncher. Buckley didn't run with any conviction, Mick Hegarty, when he picked up the ball, and virtually was easy prey.
Well, we know he's not a runner of the ball, but he's very steady usually, with the ball in the air or kicking it. So, you know, you can't expect him to do the things that we know he can't do.
Well, one thing for sure, Souths make a mess of that.
Oh, that was dreadful play by Jaron Jones. Young bloke. This is final, semi-final football. Final football, if you like, and you just don't do this. Watch it. Look, he's left too late, the pass. He had no... The idea might have been right, but you don't do that. That's how you lose matches.
Now Coyne has the ball outside the 22. I was about to say, Mick, it's a hot day. This pace of running up and down the field chasing kick footballs. Fitness is going to come into this towards the end of the match. Holmes at dummy half, over to Daunt, picking up Kelly. Kelly inside the 22. Back 18 metres away from the try line. Daunt's on the short side, picking up Cullen. Egan's gone without it. The pass might have been forward. Knocked back is the ruling. Buckley stays in the field of play. Last tackle coming up. 5 metres away from the line. Kelly Egan over to Daunt. Off Renouf. Play on.
Well done, Renouf. Marvellous stuff. So both teams are making the little short kicks and not doing them very well indeed.
Now Vincent. Oh, that would have been forward to Floyd Hill. Now for Hutchinson, and the Diehards let Souths run at them. Finding it hard to get back the 5, the Diehards. Souths are playing this at a crackerjack speed. Liso, that'll go right angles for Boys, Stephen Boys, and he's tackled outside his quarter. And the crowd becoming vocal. Against Renouf.
For kicking at the ball. Now, we'll see if he lifted his foot. I'm not too sure if we can get a replay of that. Here it is. Now, watch him. There was nothing wrong with that. Now, why he was penalised, I couldn't see anything initially, and that was good tactics by Renouf. But, well, the referees play all sorts of funny rules these days.
Play comes back to the halfway as the frown comes on Diehards coach Rossi Henrik. Up goes boys up the middle of the field. Now Holmes gives it towards Kelly. He runs into Vincent, and also in there was, in fact, Deliso was in the tackle and made him lose the ball. And away goes Clarkson, and Kelly hasn't got to his feet yet. Heavy timber stuff out there. Andrew Slack is it that hard looking from the sidelines?
Yes, it's as good a defence as we've seen all year, and the fellow leading the way is one of the smaller forwards, Bill Holmes. He's put in about 4 enormous hits.
Hutchinson. And Souths are at the Diehards 22. Bruce Harrier, dummy half, over to Little. Vincent standing wide, running wide. Still going, someone better fall on him. And Brett Vincent takes play within 20 metres of the try line. Souths lead 2-0. Big Bob Calloway, tackled by Cullen head on. Stood his ground, did the lock forward, and the big prop ran over the top of him. Now Clarkson away to Harry. Holds the pass up, wraps around, still going. Hands can't get free, they do so. Renouf over the top. Heyman into touch in the last metre.
Oh, great defence. Good attack from Souths, but Diehards' defence, that was marvellous. They really had to recover because this flick pass really put them on the defensive. Look at this. They came from everywhere. Oh, well done. Now, there's the fullback. We've given him a bucketing, Haggerty, but he was right where he had to be at the right time.
Peter Shields tackled 10 metres away from the line. Cullen. Good run from the lock forward outside the 22. Who's going to be the first team to crack under this absorbing pace and pressure? Coyne's finding touch 10 metres inside South's territory.
There's part of the big crowd that's watching this afternoon, and they're getting their money's worth.
Some deep breathing going in from both packs. This is the major semi-final. Clarkson feeds. Diehards are going to come up with one against the feed. Daunt will have a run on his own. He's beaten Jones. He can't beat Skaysbrook. Skaysbrook left his wing. Read the play well, Andrew Skaysbrook, and Daunt goes to ground with his injured ankle. It looks like he's hurt that ankle. He was doubtful before the match. He's in trouble, Daunt. Limping back into position. Now Coyne. Back to Strasser. And South defence is equal to the task. Right on the 22 now. Egan. South defence hold the big fellow. Goes to North Sydney next year on a 3-year contract, Kelly Egan. Coyne. Shields is chasing. And that goes
out on the full.
Out on the full, in goal. Andrew Slack, can you have a look for Brett Daunt for us? How's that ankle?
Well, he's trying to get it back. He's doing the old twist it around, but he's got the strapper with him at the moment, putting a bit of water on. I think he'll be okay. He doesn't look to be in a great deal of pain at the moment. Obviously, these things are a bit tender, but once he warms it up again, I'd say he'll be okay. He's warming up now. He looks okay.
Well, South's lost 2 against the head. They're not going to lose this one, but it didn't look good. They've lost 2 against the head, and that's another reason you don't win finals either.
Well, we saw last week Eastern Suburbs lose 7 against the feed, and they lost the match.
That's right. Ipswich got on top of them. Hey, this White's he's having a great game. So is Cullen in the Diehards side, but they're the pick of them so far.
It's been all in the forwards. It's been all in the engine room. Liso finding touch. Darren Jones took a heavy knock and back plays to his feet.
There's Brett Daunt. He's back. Although there'd have to be a question mark, Andrew Slack, over Daunt at present. I mean, if you're limping around, it just doesn't get totally right.
Well, whenever there's a doubt over a player all week leading into a game, you've got to worry about him, I suppose.
Here's Boyce trying to link up with his outside men. Inside to Shields. And Shields will be tackled. Now Egan away from dummy half, and he's tackled by Heyman. Diehards outside the 22, and off goes Buckley.
Ran away from his supports, Buckley. Didn't have a look at all.
Now Cullen goes to a 5/8 position. That was forward, I reckon, to Kelly. It's back to Daunt. He'll score. Brett Daunt's in. Nothing wrong with the ankle there, but I don't know whether that pass was forward. We'll have to look at the replay. Daunt's in beside the post. Valleys or Diehards in front, 4 points to 2.
Oh, here it is, and what a great bit of play. We're saying how slow Daunt is, or his ankles. Nothing wrong with that pass from that angle. And look at the acceleration. He's still going away from them when he puts the ball down. Oh, have a look at it from the high right. Now, this is the one we're talking about, this pass. Nut, sweet as a nut. Good pass, good play. And Souths, well, they just opened up for a minute, and you can't do that in finals.
Well, we won't see from this pass to Kelly was forward, but from where I was sitting, there was borderline or fractionally forward, but Daunt took the ball, no signs of the crook ankle, and he was right over underneath the post. 4-2 the lead for the Diehards with the kick to come. And Andrew Slack.
And the magic sponge works, Andrew Slack.
Well, the side of the try line has the same effect as Lewis water, Mick. It's miraculous.
You've been there, of course.
I have. It didn't do me much good.
Here's Hegarty. Adds the extras. And the Diehards lead by 6 points to 2. And there's 18 minutes to go. 22 minutes to go in the first half. So Clarkson brings the ball back for the restart. Places it for Liso to kick off. Daunt's going to take it. And here's Buckley running across field instead of straightening up, and he was easy prey for Bruce Harry, and also in there to tackle was Hutchinson. Richard Boys. Here comes White. Takes the tackle just short of the halfway.
Oh, fine forward, White. Great one from Boys as well.
Cullen. What's Coyne going to do? He'll give it a Strasser. I think Strasser would prefer not to have had it. Coyne kicking for touch, well judged. Inside the 22, it'll make the cross the line.
And if Souths don't put pressure on these key players, he just took that ball at the back of the dummy half and just went plonk. Seemed to have all the time in the world, although that's an art in itself. But Souths will have to be on him because he's magic.
Clarkson comes away with it. Cullen gets out the back of the scrum and puts the half back to ground. Floyd Hill, second highest try scorer in the Brisbane competition behind East Mark McDonald. Liso takes it outside the quarter. Renouf, what's he doing in there?
Well, he's there because the forwards aren't there, I would have to speculate.
Harry, that should be out on the full.
Naylor looks, doesn't show any emotion, but that would upset any coach.
The Diehards loose head and feet outside the 22 now. They lead by 6-2. Clean feed, Daunt's ball. Oh, they can't let him run. Now Holmes goes to dummy half, and it's with Kelly. Shane Kelly runs it about 10 metres out from the try line. Testing time for the Magpies defence. Inside to Walker. Holmes, Daunt, whoops. Yes, he'll have to take the tackle. That vital split second was lost. Now to Coyne. Oh, holds it up for Buckley. Last one coming up 10 metres away from the line. Coyne's going to run it. Holds it up, over the top. Boys went without it, he would have scored. Stephen Boys catches that ball, he's over the try line and he's gone without it, and South lived to fight another day.
Oh yes, that was just a try, butchered. I don't know how Boys missed it, but it was admittedly a basketball pass, but you've got to be ready for those. Here it is, now have a look. Now over the top, whoop, took his eye clean off it. And look, Kelly Egan couldn't believe it.
Peter Shields, just inside South's territory. They're well up inside the 5 and that play the ball, the Magpies.
And I think South's defence is starting to lag a little. What do you think, Andrew Slack?
It is, and I don't think their tactics are helping themselves, Mick, because they're kicking well and truly before the 6th tackle. Diehards running with a strong breeze. They pick up the ball, they're straight back in the quarter, pressure back on your defence.
Cullen doesn't want Walker, now gives it to Stephen Boys. Cullen at dummy half, over to Daunt. Now Coyne, and here come the runners. Coyne, oh, he's let it go too late. He had players inside and players outside, and he held on for that fraction too long, and the movement's broken down.
He had players everywhere. Here he is. Should have gone on the inside initially. That's where the gap was. And that ball, you wonder why Floyd Hill didn't dive on it. He knew that a South player had touched it. He would have been offside technically.
So Souths have possession at their own 22. Paul Hutchinson is tackled right on the chalk. Little over to Harry. Callaway to try and take pressure off, but he's tackled underneath. Peter Shields was the tackler. Now Coyne's injured, I think. He's out on the wing, Peter Coyne. And that's another one out on the full, is it? No, it stays in the field of play. Well, Peter Coyne is hobbling around out there like a lost chook. Doesn't look good at all.
And Callaway doesn't look good for Souths. He won't last much longer. He's not fit enough.
Can you get a good look at Peter Coyne down there, Andrew?
Yeah, once again, I just think he's going to take a bit of time to warm it up. He's had injury problems. I again can't see that he's in much pain. I think he'll be back in the fray shortly.
Cullen takes the tackle. Now Holmes, Daunt, chips straight into the hands of Vincent, and then he's dropped it. Well, Vincent definitely knocked it on.
Let's have a look. The short kick, Vincent takes it. He runs with it. Now drop. It came off a Valley's player. So it should have been play on again.
Daunt feeds. That comes up with it. Coyne's beaten his man. The support didn't come quickly enough.
Bad miss by Harry. You don't do that. 1-on-1.
Here's Richard Boys. Oh, he's caused South plenty of trouble in this first half. Richard Boys, 15 minutes to half-time. Diehards in front, 6-2. Now Cullen. Daunt. Egan. Hasn't had much of the ball. Kelly Egan in the first stanza. Now Strasser. And Floyd Hill gave himself up before he even picked up the ball.
Yes, and took a bit of a chance going for that. Let's have a look. Here it is. Oh dear. Yes, he knew he'd knocked it on.
And touch judge in.
It's a replacement, Alan. Scott Jennings is coming on, and Bob Callaway, as Mick predicted, is leaving the field.
Well, Scott Jennings played very strongly in the Souths win over the Diehards.
He mightn't be as big as Callaway. There goes Callaway. But he makes up for it in Ticker.
Oh, here's trouble. They've got the numbers, the Diehards. Boys. And throws it too late and throws it into touch in the first tackle.
And because of the defence that came again from Renouf. He was beaten, Renouf, but he chased. And you just watch. He'll come from behind on Boys. He can't see. Here he comes. Just as he's about to pass it, grabbed his arms and blew it.
Diehards come up with one against the head. Hegarty. Over. Beside the post. It's come from a win against the feed, as you said, McVeevers. When you see wins against the feed, tries often eventuate, and the Diehards lead 10-2.
On top marks to Hegarty. There it is. Long pass. Once again, Coyne. And look at that from a standing start. Oh, Hegarty showed us the biggest step. And look at that for determination. Who said he can't attack? That's as good as you'll ever see. Look at this. He's coming from a standing start, and he steps inside the fullback, Darren Jones, and then, of course, he beats the reserve who just came on, and Ope.
Hegarty, a lot of determination.
Oh, that was good stuff.
Showed a bit of zip, Andrew, from a standing start.
He did. He's not a bad attacking player as much as I think he's pigeonholed as a goal kicker and a safe player. He can do it when necessary. But Souths have got problems around their scrum base. Paul Hutchinson, I don't think, is putting enough pressure on Daunt. and even there, Hegarty stepped, had a couple of seconds, and yet the cover didn't seem to be getting across. So South will really have to regroup. I don't know at this stage who's going to take over the captaincy from Callaway, but I'll find that out, and whoever does has a responsibility on his shoulders.
Bob Callaway getting a well-deserved applause from the big crowd. There he is. Been playing football, the top football, for a long time. Well, it wasn't one of Hegarty's better kicks. It looked a little bit wobbly, but over it goes, and the Diehards lead 12-2. 12 minutes to go in the first half. So it's a matter for the Magpies to regroup, Mick. They've got to go back to what they were doing in the first 10 minutes of the game, controlling the football.
True. Well, now, Andrew has said that they're not putting enough pressure on Brett Daunt, but I feel that it's got to be Mark Clarkson too. He's got to be getting in and giving Daunt plenty. I mean, man for man, he's got to be on his opposition fellow, as well as Paul Hutchinson. And if Daunt and Coyne are doing what they're doing, it means the second rowers, and that's, well, Chris White and probably Brett Liso, they've got to start getting in and getting out and nailing them too.
Strasser. Back to Cullen. Making ground, the Diehards. They're just over the halfway on 2 tackles. Now Coyne kicking for touch, and that will roll into touch, I would think. Yes! A metre out from the try line. An absolute screamer from Coyne.
And Darren Jones may as well have been sitting in the Frank Burke stand, but it's a good 50 metres away.
See, what Diehards are doing today that they haven't done in some of their poorer performances is playing to a pattern. They've got the breeze, they're going to play it in South 22, and they're not going to throw silly passes, and that's working for them.
Well, the last time these two teams met, Andrew, although South certainly were the better team on the day, and they pressurised the Diehards into making stupid mistakes and throwing silly passes, looks as though the Diehards may have learnt from that.
Yes, well, we spoke to Ross Henrik before the game, and he said that's behind them and they haven't spoken much about it. I don't fully believe him. I'm sure they had a big yarn about it and said it wasn't going to happen again, and it certainly hasn't happened today.
Well, Brett Vincent had a big look then. That's even worth having a look at again if we get an opportunity. He really did not look at the ball 1 second as he ran into that ruck. Was not good at all.
Cullen now takes the tackle, only about 18 metres away from the try line. South's coughing up possession on the first tackle, and they're going to pay dearly if they keep doing that. 12-2, the Diehards lead. Here's Holmes from dummy half. He's a metre away from the try line. Souths have got to hold on here. They can't let the Diehards in again. Daunt, Coyne, Strasser's dropped it. And that will be Renouf coming up with possession.
There's your first sign of fancy stuff from Coyne, and I don't think they want to start falling into that trap, because 10 points is not a lot, as has been proven many times through this season.
So Souths are inside their own quarter. Well, we saw Eastern Suburbs last week have a good lead against Ipswich, Andrew, and they fell asleep in the last 6 or 7 minutes before half-time, and a converted try put Ipswich back in the game and won it for them.
That's right, it was 10-0, I think, after 15 or 20 minutes, wasn't it?
Sure was. Harry, wrong foot Egan. Now that will probably beat Hegarty. Now takes it. So 5 metres inside South's territory is where Peter Shields will take a bit of pressure off his pack. Just under 10 minutes to half-time, 12-2, Diehards lead. Cullen. He's had a very solid year, Mick Wayne Cullen.
Yes, he's been the bugbear of any team that the Diehards have played against. He's most underrated, and he's a dynamo. He just keeps going, and he's plenty tough, T-U-double-O.
Kelly, Shane Kelly almost through. Liso was the last line. Now Daunt. Up it goes. Are they onside? Who's got it? They weren't onside. Strasser had the ball. The David Manson rule he was in front of Daunt.
Oh, and that was very close. Darren Jones. Here's the replay now. Actually, yes, Strasser was in front, but watch this. Now Jones thinks about jumping up and running on with it and doing a quick tap. And I tell you, if he had done it, a bit of quick thinking there, and they would have been away. There wasn't anybody in front of him.
Little now takes the second tap. Who's this for? It's for White. He's hit around the shoulders by Greg Walker. Paul Hutchinson's in the in-goal area, being attended to by the trainer. Jones. Now Clarkson giving it to Harrigan. It looks like he's come on the field.
No, it's Scott Jennings there now.
It is Jennings. Scott Jennings plays it. What's Harry going to do? Gives it to Vincent.
Who's standing flat-footed and who is really not getting into it. He's got to involve himself in the game. Finals are front rowers' dreams, and he's a front rower, or he wants to take off.
White. He has run hard at the defence, Chris White. Oh, and there's mess up everywhere.
They're getting tired, both sides. I think that heat's starting to get to them, Andrew Slack.
Yes, and of course the fervour with which they went at it in that first 20 minutes would have taken their toll. But Bruce Harry's been quiet, and that pass, although you make the point about Vincent, the pass did go behind him, which doesn't help. So I think Bruce Harry has now got to get into it. Mark Clarkson, by the way, has taken over the captaincy reins since Kellaway's come to the sideline.
So South with a chance to find touch somewhere near the Diehards 22. 12 points to 2, the Diehards lead. Now Liso, from where he is, big kicker of the ball, should be able to make a lot of ground with this.
I think at this stage, little fish are sweet, aren't they, Al?
He finds it just outside the 22. Now the Magpies have their chance. They can test the Diehards right out if they hang on to the ball. Andrew Skays books at the quarter. John Little a dummy half, then Clarkson over to Vincent. Hands free to Little. Skaysbrook. Tackled by Greg Walker. 18 metres away from the try line. Clarkson. Back to Hutchinson. They're just not going anywhere with the ball.
No one is hitting the line at all with any sort of strength or willingness.
Harry. Oh, what's happened here? Liso will recover. And Liso's hurt. The right shoulder looks to be in a bit of trouble.
I think it was one of those things that happened, both going for the ball. The Valleys, or the Diehards player, trying to kick it through, missed the ball, got the player. So whether he's got one in the kidneys or somewhere, I couldn't quite pick up, but I think it was a boot he collected.
Mick, Souths are missing Kellaway. They're missing the thrust. They're missing someone running hard and straight, the big front rower's job.
Well, they certainly are missing Kellaway, but there's other big blokes out there. I mean, Vincent's big, Liso's big. They've all got to drop in. Young White was going well. He's eased off a bit too. They're looking for a bit of leadership, and well, I don't know whether Mark Clarkson can give it from where he's at. I think it's Bruce Harry should be saying, come on you guys, and taking over a little.
What about experience in front rowers come final time? Mick, I mean, these other fellows are a little bit, they're inexperienced. Kellaway's played something like 13 years of A-grade football. He's played for Queensland. He's also played in England. I mean, how do you replace blokes like him come major semi-final time?
Well, if he's playing to the tops of his ability, as we see Daunt do a beautiful bit of pick-up there, well, you do miss him. But I've always ran under the impression, no one is irreplaceable. So whoever's out there's got to be doing the work.
And here's the mistake from the Diehards, and that'll be South's ball. There's 5.5 minutes to half-time. Now, can the Magpies get their act together? Oh, have a look at Diehards. The Diehards outside backs were in the South's attacking line.
And they still are. Look at them.
Peter Shields is offside by 12 metres in that last play of the ball. Vincent takes it inside the quarter.
Let's have a look again. Strasser's offside. They're all offside. Egan's offside.
Harry, flick pass inside to Liso. Couldn't get the hands free, and there's a fight on in the back play. But Harry goes on with it. Bruce Harry. Touch judge George Long is in. Vincent's one player.
Shane Kelly's the other, Alan.
And that's exactly what Souths don't want. They had Valleys at Diehards at 6s and 7s, and you got one of the South players, Andrew, having a blue when he got a chance to score a try.
Yes, and there was nothing worthwhile in it. It was just a bit of jersey pulling and rolling around it. That is the lack of discipline. And I'm just seeing touches of that creep into the South play. John Little threw an elbow at Daunt earlier on. Missed him by a mile, by the way. But they're just falling into the trap Diehards did the other week.
Well, they've just lost themselves about 50 metres because after this kick, Diehards will go on the attack. And look, you watch and see how much trouble Souths get in. Just through one stupid penalty being given away.
Can't understand giving away penalties and fighting when you've got the ball 15 metres away from your opponent's try line.
And when you're down by 10 points, doesn't make sense to me.
So Souths aren't playing it very well at the moment, but here's Richard Boys. He's had a big first half. Diehards inside South territory by 5 metres. Now for Greg Walker. Holmes really wasn't expecting it, but he got it and took it. Walker a dummy half, over to Daunt, and then Coyne, chips, play on. Jennings. Souths need some firepower. 3.5 minutes to half time. Diehards lead 12 points to 2. Hutchinson, what can he do? Nothing. He's wrapped up in the good tackle of Shane Kelly.
I'm wondering where fellas like Liso are, the big blokes who should be coming onto the ball.
Heyman, Floyd Hill, can't beat Shields. Harry. Oh, dearie me, what is going on out there? Heyman's got the ball.
If that's final football, Andrew Slack, I'm not here. Does not look good from South's point of view.
Daunt must have thought that the South players were offside. He stopped his ground, but eventually the Diehards play the ball and Kelly Egan's on the quarter. 2.5 minutes to half time. Diehards lead 12 to 2.
And you saw a flash of a very worried Jeff Naylor, I would say. That was forward.
Shane Kelly. Naylor's got to get to these blokes at half-time and get back to some sort of game plan. They've lost it. They've lost the plot, Mick.
Yes, and the plot's getting bigger.
Well, one thing Jeff Naylor has shown during this year is he's capable of regrouping at half-time. We recall the time against Ipswich. They were down 16-0, came back and won that match. Naylor at half-time usually has something to say. It'll have to be good today.
Cullen giving away the penalty. Wanted to have a little bit of a chat, and Ziggy Strasser wisely got him out of the road.
Yes, well, the poor Floyd there, Floyd Hill, like he wouldn't be 7 stone in an army overcoat wringing wet. So there he is. He does well, though.
Little almost foiled the Diehards defence. Wide at dummy half through Clarkson. Jennings. Back to Liso.
That's what they've got to do. What Scott Jennings is doing. Look for your support, no matter even if you're under pressure. He's doing it well.
Can Souths get a try on the board before half-time? Renouf can't be put into space. Clarkson's away from dummy half. Kicks ahead. Wasn't really impeded all that much, I didn't think. David Manson says play on. Hegarty tackled with 50 seconds to show on the clock to the half-time break. Shields.
And once again we see Hill showing him. Here's the kick. No, he could have stood up. All he had to do was step around a bit and he could have beaten that.
Shields again. So Diehards playing it in a very safe manner in the last minute of the first half. Well, why would they want to do anything silly? They lead 12 to 2.
And they've got a reasonable breeze to play into in the second half, which will, of course, favour South.
And on top of that, they've had some forwards who've played very well in this first half. And I think particularly of Richard Boys and Shane Kelly and Greg Walker. They have really thumped them, plus the backing up of Wayne Cullen.
6 seconds to half-time as Jones brings the play back to the quarterway. He's in no hurry to start. Takes the tackle. That's half-time, and at the break, in the major semi-final, the Diehards lead South 12 points to 2.
Seagulls Diehards 12, leading South 2. There's a wallet being handed in on the ground, handed into the canteen under the grandstand, so if you'd like to check your pockets, you're missing a wallet.
Well, that's the sky that greets us for the second half, McVeevers. Have a look at that.
I know, and that, I'd tell you what, South have had blue Guernseys running all over them in the first half, and they've got a blue sky, a very blacky blue sky moving in on. Does not look good for South for the second half.
Well, the second half underway, and I wonder what went on in the dressing rooms at half-time. We better go straight to the sidelines and find out with Andrew Slack.
Well, it was a far from discouraged South's camp, despite the scoreline. Jeff Naylor reasonably happy with their situation, but he wants them to spread it wide, perhaps surprisingly for some. Obviously, they'll have to get some depth to do that initially, and the defence will have to improve, go up on both sides. They're going to play it down there, as is evidenced by that first kick. Seagulls-Diehards, Ross Henrik, also quite pleased. They've come out with the express aim of scoring first. They're not happy with 12 points. They want to score again. From then on, there'll be no mistakes, nothing silly, and the game should be theirs, according to Ross Henrik. We'll see if he's right.
Well, whilst he might hope they mightn't do anything silly, Hegarty and Shields just ran into each other from the first kick, and Hegarty did very well to hang on to that ball. Here's Coyne. This is for Skaysbrook. And the chasers are there for the Diehards. Strasser's first there, makes the tackle. Heyman. The South forwards are going to have to work. Little. Oh, into space. Clarkson. Tackled by Boys, Richard Boys. Little a dummy half. Now to Vincent. He's got it to Liso. And he's going to... Oh, he's offside. Little, oh, it's play on. Little was in an offside position, but it's gone back to Skaysbrook and it's play on. So Souths are outside the Diehards quarter. Harry's looking for White. Found him. Back to Harry. Now Jones. Hutchinson.
Souths are starting to move the ball and look impressionable.
Clarkson's down and back play for the Magpies. Harry. Vincent's offside a mile if he gets there first. Hegarty takes it and then tackles him and he's offside. Offside by the proverbial mile, Brent Vincent. He was close to 2 metres in front when the ball was kicked. Could have even been 3. Coyne finds touch. Inside their own 22, the Diehards. They've got the points on the board, 12-2 they lead. Kelly. Cullen. Strasser. Back to Cullen. Quick hands. Here's Egan. Now Shields has good cover from Renouf. He's thrown it inside to Floyd Hill. And then he's gone into touch.
He was unceremoniously slung and swiveled into touch, but he was still moving. You watch this, the ball goes back, he picks it up, and he was still moving. Nothing illegal and no penalty from that.
Diehards ball with Daunt. Here's Coyne. South's defence will have to regroup in a hurry. Egan will run like a second rower into Liso. 32 metres away from the try line of the Diehards. Cullen inside to Richard Boys. He's been one of the best players today. Short side to Shane Kelly. Now Daunt and Coyne. Boys is offside for mine. Jones gets there first and Boys was offside. Well refereed by David Manson. It's 2 offsides he's picked up in a hurry.
Couldn't see it from that angle.
Jones is hobbling back to his feet as Boys stabbed at the ball and might have got his knee. So play comes back to the 22. Who's Little giving this to Vincent? He's dropped it on the first tackle.
He did that in the first half. Now the pressure's back on Souths again.
Coyne taking the settler really. There's nothing on in that play the ball. Now for Strasser, one of the veterans of the Brisbane competition, Ziggy Strasser. Daunt, Richard Boys. Oh, he's causing Souths no end of trouble here today. Now Daunt. Cullen into Buckley. Buckley's 8 metres out. What do they do in the final tackle? Daunt goes for the try line. Does he get it down? No, he doesn't. He was over the line, couldn't ground the ball.
Well, his leg or ankle looks quite normal to me. He really accelerated then. Here he goes. He just ran straight, tucked up, and good work from the fullback, Darren Jones, to get in between him and stop him from getting that pill over the white line.
Mark Clarkson tackled 10 metres out from his own line. Floyd Hill's away from dummy hard with a bit of gusto. Good run from the winger. Now Clarkson's trying to pick up White and does so. Souths have to hold on to the ball. Chris White plays it. Liso. Now Shields Shields might have a chance to get this. Oh, it's come in field at the last minute. What a big kick from Liso. Now Vincent waits for Shields. Shields should be able to beat him easily. But he can't beat the other cover from White. And that was a big kick, Andrew Slack from Liso. Now Buckley. Diehards outside the 22. They lead by 12-2. Shane Kelly. There's Mark Harrigan on the sideline. Now Mark Harrigan was left out of the run-on side and there's something happened in here. Here's the touch judge.
Just to bring the player on.
Mark Harrigan, Mick, was left out of the starting lineup because he missed training yesterday morning because he slept in. So that's one of two things. Either he's a relaxed player or he might be thinking enough about the game. What do you think?
Oh, I think he might be just a relaxed player, eh? Give him the benefit of the doubt.
And Stephen Renouf, who I think has been South's best back and perhaps their best player, is the man replaced. I would have left him on. But anyway, there's Harrigan with the ball, not asleep at the moment.
So Harrigan takes the tackle of Egan. Now Floyd Hill. Oh, he's elusive, this fellow.
Yes. I've been watching Hayward, Andrew Slack. Now he runs through. He's coming over your way. When he doesn't get the ball, he just keeps trotting on. He's not interested in getting back into position for the next play. He's been out of 3 plays. That's not good enough for mine.
Clarkson, Harry, now with Vincent, and now to Harrigan. They're a chance. They're more than a chance. He's in, and the Magpies are back in business. Mark Harrigan, he's in no dream world today. He's flying out there after being on the park for 60 seconds. Souths are back in business. The Diehards lead 12-6.
Well, you see what I said? He's a relaxed player. Watch it, the short pass. Best pass of the day from Vincent. And look at Harrigan. He's a fresh player. He thought about the inside pass to Hayward, but he wasn't inside, and that was a good determined effort. There's this pass. We had to pick it up too. Now you'll see Hayward coming on the inside here. He thought about it. It stood Daunt up just long enough to allow them to get to the corner.
Great try. Vincent doing everything right this time, giving Harrigan a little bit of room. Half a dummy. Just stood Daunt up just a fraction. And there's the try line. The ball is grounded. And Souths, Andrew, are back in business.
Well, they are. They've been in business all day. It didn't look too flash at 12-2, admittedly, but until you get that 3 converted or 3 tries away, there's always danger. And certainly Souths haven't chucked it in. It's been their best attack of the game this first 10 minutes of the second half.
A vital kick from Liso. How's it look? It looks pretty good, thank you very much. It's up and over. Diehards in front, 12 points to 8. 9 minutes gone, second half.
Well, are we seeing the comeback like we've seen Souths over at Davies Park again? I'm with you too, Andrew Slack. I wouldn't have replaced Renouf. He's been the best centre out there. And I've been saying Hayward. I think it's Heyman. Brett Heyman would have been the man that I'd have replaced.
Now we'll see a little bit more purpose coming from the Magpies, I feel sure. A converted try, and they're in the front.
Liso didn't call for that ball or get with him at all. Here he is. He's not playing well, and I saw when he was tackled before, he's got a big pad up on the inside of his arm. Here it is. Plenty of time to do everything. Straight in the bread basket. You just have to say straight out it was hopeless.
So the Diehards give away possession through per the medium of a scrum penalty against Holmes. Had the ball on the quarter and gave away a penalty.
And on that left-hand arm of Hayward, see the black? He's got an injury or something there, and he's not right.
And Liso's made good territory. They're 5 metres inside Diehard territory of the Magpies. And with that try under the belt, there's more purpose from White. Scavesbrook's gone without it. On the first tackle.
Well, White threw the pass. Hayward didn't take it. Watch this, here it comes. The short pass now. It was popped down at his boots. A bit hard to get onto.
Daunt feeds. Comes up with it. Coyne. Can't beat Harry this time. Harry showed him the inside, then waited for him. Buckley over to Richard Boys. Now Kelly takes it over the halfway. Holmes, Daunt, Coyne, Stephen Boys. And he's tackled 5 metres inside South territory. Coyne. Speculator eventually. It's Holmes now. Midfield. Midway, halfway, quarter. Inside South territory. Coyne. Gone loose. Play on. Buckley's got it. Diehards are at the South 22.
Bad play from South. You dive on a loose ball. Harry tried it and couldn't succeed. And the other South players just looked at it.
Here come the Diehards now. First it was Kelly, then it was his co-front row and Walker. 10 metres away from the line. Coyne takes the tackle. Daunt. Cullen on his own. Underneath the post, thank you very much. Wayne Cullen, and the Diehards now lead 16 points to 8.
And did you see who he ran over? Brett Liso. Straight through him. It's like a soft bag of rice. Just have a look at it. Just one pass. Cullen says, I'll take this. Bye-bye. No defence at all from Southern Suburbs.
He took it from the standing start.
Yes, and that's the first miss, and the second miss, and that's bad defence from South's forwards, and they're really not in it. And you can blame the loose ball that they lost down here. They had their opportunity to dive on a loose ball. They all looked at it like it was a bag of spiders, and the end result is Valleys have got an extra, I would say, 6 points after this kick.
Well, that's the one thing that South didn't want. They didn't want the Diehards to strike back immediately. That got themselves back into the match at 12-8, and then they started spilling easy possession, and the consequence of that is 4 looking at 6 points. Andrew?
Yes, you've hit it on the head, Alan. There's nothing more demoralising when you've fought from a difficult position to get back in the match. When you've done your point scoring, the opposition comes straight back at you. I don't know if South can come back from this position. The breeze is still freshening. This kick will put them 10 points ahead. Not looking so good for the Magpies.
18 points to 8, the Diehards lead in the major semi-final. You're watching it on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Seagulls-Diehards 18, South 8.
Yes, it'll be very difficult for South to come back from here. Although this is semi-final football, we've seen them get a bit of a kick. I wonder if they can get another kick. But they've got to stop making these stupid mistakes.
Well, what Souths are doing, Mick, is Kelly Egan. What Souths are doing is exactly what the Diehards did when the last time they met when Souths beat them.
Yes, well, it's all reversed, isn't it, the situation?
There's Walker.
They're playing it steadily.
Daunt Shane Kelly, he's had a very strong game, this fellow, Shane Kelly. He's taken the ball up at every opportunity. So has Strasser, who's tackled, and so has Boys. Their forwards are getting a roll on. They're starting to get Souths on the back foot. Hegarty makes the extra man, and Boys is nicely tackled by Harrigan. And Stephen Boys had a marker. Well, he says he didn't. Manson said he did. Let's have a look.
No, I think he's got to let the ball go. Let's see what happens.
He did.
He did, very slowly, but I don't think Mr. Manson thought he had. Hello, that's Gillow.
That might be Big Bob at the end of the day.
Well, that's his young...
I know.
Says a lot, doesn't it? Words fail me.
So now Souths are inside Die-Hard territory. They have to go on with it from here. Scott Jennings is tackled. Well, not tackled, he actually tripped himself. Now Clarkson and Harry reverse. Jones. White. Has he got the ball, White? I think he may have. He had it all right. And then Kelly tried to say he'll make sure he didn't. And the penalty goes to Souths.
Well, they're going to come up with a very good attacking position. Oh. I think Kelly had the ball, quite frankly.
So they're outside the Die-Hards 22 now, the Magpies. Little, Skaysbrook, and he's almost at the quarter. White, Jones, Darren Jones, 8 metres out, make it 5. What can they do now, Souths? Chris White, determination. Oh, he is so close. Have a look at that. Centimetres away. Little, he's got it down. It's a try. Johnny Little in to score. Die-Hards lead 18 points to 12.
And just before he went on his own, before Little went, did you hear the call? Watch this. The call was from Die-Hards. Watch the dummy half. Well, they didn't. Look at Brett Daunt say, that's not right, but it is. Daunt, he took him on. Daunt was there. Hegarty was there, but they didn't stop. Watch this. Daunt's tried, Hegarty's tried, and that's what Bally's didn't want.
Well, Hegarty did everything right. He got down on his haunches to protect that position, and Little just scattered outside him, took on the half-back in Daunt, and so Souths are back in business. Andrew, can this be the revival?
Well, the point is, Alan, Souths now know that they don't have to panic to score tries. I wondered once Die-Hards had got away again whether Souths would be throwing the ball anywhere. They played it steadily. Chris White showed the lead, and they showed they could score points doing it the correct way. They're still in this.
Liso's kicked that with absolute gem. Die-Hards lead 18 to 14.
And he's a very sick boy, is Liso.
And that will give the crowd plenty to think about. Limping back in a position, Brett Liso. Well, if he goes off, Andrew Skaysbrook is a capable kicker. He's not as good as Liso, I don't think. And at a pinch, they could use Bruce Harry.
I don't know. I think he's just, his leg must be crooked.
There's 21 minutes remaining. 18 to 14, the Die-Hards lead. Hutchinson. Inside his own quarter.
Nearly a shepherd.
Clarkson. Liso kicks on here, and that'll have to give Buckley a bit of room to move. Just having a look over some of these players out here, and Buckley's made ground. He's over the halfway. There's a lot of fellows limping out there, Mick, on both sides.
Yes, there's Liso. He'll be replacing Liso, I'd say. Hill coming on. Richo Hill.
And he is the ball maker, the playmaker for South, Richo Hill. Die-Hards in possession of the football. They lead by 18 to 14. Ruling Harrigan offside. He did get there pretty quickly.
Richo Hill's definitely trying to get on.
Liso is now off. Liso's gone to the sideline. Richo Hill is on. So the replacement has been effected, and the Diehards are 15 to 18 metres away from the try line. They lead 18 to 14 in the major semi-final. Shane Kelly, probably been the Diehards' hardest worker. Now it's Dawn. Walker, under the post, Greg Walker, and I think that'll just about be the ball game. And Stephen Boyes has come in and absolutely flattened Bruce Harry after the try was scored. Why, I don't know. We'll find out about that in a moment. Walker scored 22 to 14.
We will. Well, here it is. Have a look at the try first. Straight ahead. You don't see what Harry does. And in actual fact, I don't think he did too much at all. We'll have to go well back, and you might see it now. It's just a normal straight wrap around. Straight ahead. Didn't see anything, and I was watching back play a bit.
Well, Bruce Harry has got 10 minutes from David Manson. Now, I just wonder if a bit of brotherly love was involved there, because Richard Boyes was down on the deck. Stephen Boyes came in with fire in his eyes to do something to Harry, and Harry's copped 10 minutes, and as I'm speaking, Stephen Boyes has been given the finger by David Manson. He may well join Bruce Harry in the sin bin.
Well, you saw it correctly, Andrew. We just saw the head-on. It was definitely Harry taking out Boyes. That's Richard Boyes. Stephen came in to square up for his brother, so Harry and Stephen Boyes both go 10 in the bin. Be interesting to see if these two talk and they cross paths walking into the tunnel. I take it no one said anything?
I think Stephen asked Bruce how he was.
And he's not feeling well, I can assure you.
But let's not detract from Hammer Walker. Running onto the pass, breaking the tackle. 22 to 14, the Diehards lead with the kick to come. He's been a bit of an institution, hasn't he, Greg Walker, in Brisbane football? He's been in a bit of hot water with the judiciary over the years, but he can play the game, and there was a prime example of it.
Well, he's been part of that great Diehards pack this afternoon that has just kept coming. He's there when he's needed. He took it up, and that was a very good example of what he should be doing.
Hegarty makes no mistakes with the extras, and with 18 minutes to go to full time, Diehards lead 24 to 14.
Seagulls-Diehards 24, South 14.
Well, the Magpies have hit back after each time, Mick, but I just doubt whether they can do it again in the final, 17 and a half minutes.
Well, they get another try. It's 20, and then, but every time they get a try, the Diehards come back and just put another one on the board. It must be very frustrating, but I really feel that it's Diehards' afternoon. If Souths win, I think it'll be a tragedy for the Diehards. They played it well, they played it steady, and they looked like a winning team all day.
The Diehards' greatest problem all year has been complacency, and when they get a break, they tend to drop their game a little, and 17 minutes is a long time in a game of rugby league. I wouldn't be writing off the Magpies at this stage, particularly not with Richo Hill on the field. He can do anything.
Andrew, why is it that after Souths have got back into the game, they haven't been able to consolidate?
Well, I think it stems from the loss of Callaway early. The players in the South pack, I don't think, are as versatile as the Diehards one. They can't cover for the type of player that Callaway is. Liso's one sort of player, and he's not a guy who can change his game. That's been their problem.
Richo Hill comes up with that ball, and that should be a penalty. Well, they've got away with that, the Diehards. White. This has got to be desperation stuff now from the Magpies. They trail by 10 points. 16 and a half minutes on the clock. Jennings.
Tough cookie, little bloke, similar style of play to Wayne Cullen.
Harrigan's cut down on a nice copybook tackle from Wayne Cullen. Now Richo Hill, a dummy half. Clarkson trying to wrong foot a few. Back to Hill. Harrigan covered by Shields. The last tackle comes up and Souths are outside the 22. Up it goes. They all look to be onside. And Strasser takes it. Here goes Kelly away from dummy half again. He has not stopped for the entire match so far, Shane Kelly. That's against Richo Hill. Kicking before the ball was played.
And that just puts pressure back on your team again. Have a look at this. That's silly play.
Kelly looking at Rich O'Hill as to say, what are you doing? Of course, the loser of this match meets Ipswich next week in the preliminary final. And of course, that match is played on Saturday night. In fact, I can give you the kick-off times for next Saturday night's matches. The Colts will start at 4:30. Reserve grade is at 6 o'clock as Floyd Hill picks the ball up. And the A grade's at 7:30 with the replay coming up on Channel 9 at 9:30.
Well, Peter Coyne's been bowled over in back play, and it was a late tackle. He just got rid of the short kick. There it is. Have a little look at this. He puts the short kick in, and
elbow from Richo by the look of it.
Yes, it was Richo went bang. He's hardly on the field. I wonder if he'll stay there.
Yes, he does.
Oh, gee, that's lucky.
He wanted to argue. I think he'd be lucky to stay there. You just get out of the road and get back and defend. No good putting that sort of stuff.
That's 2 penalties. Let's see if he'll have to do a lot of good attacking work to make up for those 2 penalties.
Coyne. Back to Shields. Strasser. Chips. Aysbrook in good cover. And he'll take the tackle inside his own quarter.
Aysbrook's had quite a good afternoon. Anything he's had to do, he has done well. He's defended well, and Souths have lost the ball again.
Yes, Clarkson's lost that, I think. And what's he ruling? It should be Diehard's ball. It is. Clarkson dropped it. Cullen at the 22. The Diehards looking for the last nail in the coffin. Good tacking by Floyd Hill, tackling on his opposite number. Worrying time for players and coaches. Shane Kelly, straight in the middle of the field, inside the 22. Bill Holmes over to Daunt, and then to Coyne, and he's unceremoniously put into the ground. Clarkson the tackler. Daunt for a field goal. Doesn't work. Heyman's got it. Dummies. And I think probably should have let it go.
Should have let it go. Slower than a wet week thinking about it.
Vincent, he's lost it and regained. Scrum to pack down.
And as you said earlier this afternoon, conditioning would play a big part in this. Well, it is. You just see South starting to drop. Watch Vincent. You should never drop the ball in that. Not a front rower. And I'd have to go close to saying I don't think he's fit enough to last the distance.
Daunt, Coyne, back to Daunt, and now they've got a bit of room. Kelly Egan, now he's run to his support. He's learning as he gets older, Mick Beavers. He was going to come back inside, but eventually ran to his support, something he wasn't doing earlier in the season. Richard Boys, 10 metres out from the try line. South still trying everything. The Diehards in command at the moment. Cullen, Strasser, Rich O'Hill went for another hit back to Holmes. And they're going to be very hard to stop here, the Diehards. Watch Cullen, a dummy half. Away to Daunt. Over the top, Egan's dropped it. Floyd Hill nearly got it. If Floyd Hill got it, it was shut the gate. Touch judge in.
And Floyd Hill once again has prevented a try. Watch this long pass. Look at Hill. Great reflexes, this guy. Just put the ball off enough so they couldn't pick it up cleanly.
But by the same token, it was a risk I don't think worth taking as Richard Boyce comes off, having had a great game, Boyce, particularly in the first half. But that pass from Daunt wasn't necessary. Had Hill picked it up and run the length of the field, which he undoubtedly would have done, South's back in it. That's what I was saying about Valleys. Sometimes take too many risks when they get a break on.
So White.
Seagull-Diehards side number 9, Richard Boys, replaced by number 14, Rion Pierce.
South's outside their own 22. Rion Pierce is the replacement for Richard Boys. He's wearing jersey 14. Well, they've got a penalty out of that, South, but by the same token, Mick...
They didn't know what they were doing.
They didn't know what they were doing.
That's true. What's this? He looks around.
And they threw it to the side where there was only one man. The Magpies need something special.
Yes, they need to think a bit.
Jennings is tackled. 10 minutes to go on the match. Clarkson and now White. Clarkson. Little. Tackled by Pearce. Clarkson. Harrigan. Heyman on the fly. He's lost the ball out the back. Penalty.
Well, it's starting to rain too, I believe, but he tried to pass that. That shouldn't have been a penalty. He was trying to get rid of it, and clear as a bell in my eyes anyway.
So Skaysbrook finds touch on the 22. Souths have got 9 minutes and 18 seconds to get back into the match. Jennings, who's with him? Where's the support? He had to stop and wait. They were a mile back. Now Little's on his own. The Magpies have to support the ball carrier. 24-14, the Diehards lead. Clarkson over to Rich O'Hill. Holds it up for Skaysbrook. Hill a dummy half. Back to Clarkson. Runs into Pearce. He'll go no further.
And there's not a semblance of a back line for South. Well, there is now, but it took them a long time to recover.
Hill. To his brother Floyd. Oh, now there's flick pass job onto Heyman. Heyman's tackled only 10 metres away from the line. Hill. Little.
Boys and Harry back on the field.
After their 10 minutes in the bin. Last one. It'll have to go up or along the ground. It went up. A lot of South players, I feel, probably offside. Daunt's got the ball.
Cleaned up very nicely there, Brett Daunt.
Buckley. Can't beat the tackle of Andrew Skaysbrook.
And if the Diehards go straight into the grand final, which I think they will, they're going to be a hard unit after 2 weeks spell. Get all those injuries fixed. Up and running.
Holmes away from dummy half. Runs it to the 22. Off he goes again. Good run from Bill Holmes. He's made about 23 to 25 metres. Now it's the kicking game from Coyne. It's a long one. It'll almost roll over the try line. It does. Skaysbrook will have to take on Kelly Egan. And also Shields, or Coyne rather. I was right the first time, it was Shields. Now back to Jones. 7 minutes on the clock, 24-14 the lead for the Diehards. Brett Heyman. Can't beat the tackle of Walker and Pearce. Vincent. Now Little. Clarkson. Harry, who's back in contention. Hill. Well, they're throwing it around, but no one's running straight. Scott Jennings has tackled short of the halfway. I need someone to go straight up the centre. Who wants it? Harry. And someone will have to kick it. Harrigan does, and finds touch.
And maybe there'll be a bolt of lightning or two flashing down Overland Park shortly, because there's plenty going on out the back of the brewery there.
Thanks, Mick. That makes me feel good. 15, Darryl Pitts just come on for Peter Shields.
Yes, well, don't put a silver umbrella up, Andrew.
Okay, I'll just get wet.
Here's Egan. He's got room. Over the top it goes to Pitt. And Pitt's tackled. 5.5 minutes remaining. Diehards in front, 24-14. Coyne's found Buckley. He'll play it to Hegarty. Over to Dawn, inside to Rion Pierce. Eventually he'll stand. No, he won't, he'll fall. But he'll play it, but he can fall all day because his team's in front. Cullen. Strasser. Now Cullen. He's tackled. Outside the 22. Exactly 5 minutes to go. Coyne for a field goal attempt. And over. Diehards in front, 25-14.
Oh dear me, that really sums it up and sums it up, you might say, for Diehards. 24-14. Here's the field goal. 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And plonks over a one-pointer. The rain starts really tumbling down. And that'll even make it more difficult for South to get back in this game.
Well, with 4 minutes showing on the clock or a fraction over, Walker runs it away. Well, we might go to you for a summary, Andrew, and in that summary, what do you think about the match next week between South and Ipswich?
Difficult to know, isn't it? It'll be a tough encounter. Certainly Tommy Raudonikis will have them fired up, but I've also a lot of respect for Jeff Naylor, so it'll be a great clash. But today, Diehards too good. Looking into the grand final, one thing they've got to, I guess, shape up on is that killer attitude. They sometimes drop it when they're well ahead, but you couldn't fault their performance apart from that today. As Cullen drops a difficult pass from Coyne, not a bad player. I thought of the lot. Shane Kelly was the hardest worker, had a superb game. The rest of the forwards played very well. Richard Boyce in the first half. Daunton Coyne played well as usual. Coyne underplayed his role today. Good captain's knock and finished it off with that field goal. I thought Kelly Egan, as Alan mentioned before, showed an awareness of his supports today, so he's certainly growing in stature. And the wingers, often unsung in a game like this, but I thought Shane Buckley particularly looked for a lot of work early. Shields did his job, Hegarty kicked the goal. So a good performance from Diehards, and they'll have that 2 weeks to just freshen up and come into the grand final looking fairly good. South will have to get a grafter in the forwards. They need somebody to replace Callaway if he's not fit. I don't think they've got the answer in there at the moment. And Harry will have to pick up his game as well. Darren Jones looked dangerous today, and Steve Renouf, who was surprisingly to me taken off midway through the, or early in the second half, in fact, was sensational. I'll be very surprised if he's not in their team next week.
McVivers.
Well, let's go to Souths first. They a knock on there behind the scrum, but South today just weren't in it. They started like world beaters, and for 7 to 10 minutes, they really shook the Diehards along, but then all of a sudden, they just lost it. All went to pieces. They couldn't hold the ball. Valleys took full
advantage.
Yes, that would be the word, of the mistakes made by South and went over, and South really never were in the game after that. I thought Floyd Hill, if they all played, and I keep saying that, they all played with the heart and stamina of Floyd Hill, they'd win games non-stop. Chris White was one of their better forwards, and probably while he was there, Callaway tried hard, but he was an injured man before he went on, and it wasn't long before he went off. For Diehards, Ross Henrik must be very happy. He's got 2 weeks to tone these guys up, and they don't need much toning when you see Shane Kelly, Richard Boyes and Ziggy Strasser and big Greg Walker running down the middle, and Wayne Cullen always around the fringe. He tidies up, he cover defends, he stops movements when they look dangerous. One of the better players and better forwards and unsung heroes running around in the Brisbane competition. Daunton Coyne always worrying, and yes, you're right, I thought those wingers, when they did, or particularly Shields, did try hard and came looking for work. But Steve Hegarty, he did things today. He scored a try from a standing start and had to beat the defence. Most impressionable. And there's Daunt. He's coming off and having a rest. Why not? Plenty of time to get ready for the grand final. But I really think that Diehards are going to be hard to beat in the grand final, whichever side gets there, and I don't think it will be South, not on this afternoon's performance.
Well, what about an Ipswich Diehards final?
Well, I wouldn't mind that either. They'll be nice and hard. They haven't got the flamboyance and flair of any of these other teams, Ipswich, but they know how to stop them scoring tries.
Now this will be close. Oh, Floyd Hill will outpace the Diehards here by a mile. I had a look over the top and I saw, it's found touch anyway, I saw the Diehards on the burst and I saw Floyd Hill. He was going three-quarter pace and had them covered. 54 seconds remaining.
A little bit of bad news perhaps for South. I know they've had some already today, but John Little, who's their very hard-working hooker, has come off with an ankle injury. Lyle Brownlee wearing 17 is on. Tony Catton, 17, has replaced Daunt in the Diehards team.
So the last scrum of the match.
Well, Souths are definitely looking like the walking wounded. Although a week's a long time in football, and every team in the competition has injuries, so maybe they can come back.
Well, Kelly Egan's got the ball, takes the tackle. That's full time. The major semi-final is over. The Diehards are into the grand final. They've won here this afternoon in the major semi, defeating South by 25-14.
Congratulations to the Seagulls-Diehards who go through to the grand final on September the 18th. Don't forget the preliminary finals here next Saturday. First of all, we open the gates at 2:30 and at 3 o'clock the final of the Coca-Cola Cup between Keebra Park High and St Patrick's from Mackay. Then at 4:30